Hello and welcome back to Winners and Losers experimental lineup today. No Chris and Joe who are out on a shoot, so I'm joined by Mr. Michael McCubbin. How are you, mate?
I'm very well.
Recovered from the golf yesterday?
Yes, had a great day of golf
down
yesterday.
The side,
No, a little bit of a callus at the bottom of my left hand, but apart from that,
golfer's hand.
Yeah, exactly. Just getting into the swing of things.
Exactly. There we go. First joke of the day. But yeah, happy birthday to Zach Jalab. For yesterday. Leave a comment down below wishing your congratulations on his 22nd. But let's get straight into it because we need to talk about Norwich at the suggestion of @CoopLewis McCubbs.
Yes, obviously, big result for them on Saturday. Stunned Manchester City with a 3-2 victory at Carrow Road. The champions' first defeat since Newcastle back in January. So yeah, not a good day at the office for Pep Guardiola. Kenny McLean and Todd Cantwell put the home side up, 2-0 up, in the first 30 minutes. Cantwell now has 4 goal involvements this term, which has already trumped his total of 3 last term in the Championship. So super impressive start for the youngster. Aguero got Man City back in on the stroke of half-time for 2-1 before an awful error from Otamendi gifted Norwich a third soon after the break, with Teemu Pukki, the man of the moment, getting his 6th of the season. The 29-year-old has been involved in 8 goals, 6 goals obviously, and 2 assists in his first 5 Premier League appearances. Only Aguero has been involved in more goals in a player's first 5 games in the competition's history.
Elite company.
And that was with 9, I believe, back in 2011-12 when he was again on fire. But yeah, pretty amazing stuff from Pukki at the start of this campaign. And we actually got an exclusive interview with the Finnish striker after he won the Player of the Month this last week, thanks to EA. So here's a little snippet of that.
Oh, of course, I'm really, thanks first of all. I feel really honored, you could say. It was a great month, a lot of goals, so I'm happy with that. And yeah, I need to say thanks for the teammates and the bosses as well, making it possible.
Thanks for that, Teemu, Joe's best friends, of course. The visitors replied late on through Rodri, his first for the club. Really nice effort from outside the box. But Norwich held on to secure all 3 points after what was a fantastic performance from the Canaries. Guardiola's side, however, have dropped more points in the opening 5 fixtures of this season than they did in the entire second half of 2018-19. So alarm bells ring a little bit, or is this just a little blip? I'm not sure quite yet. It's also the first time that they've lost against a newly promoted side since Burnley back in March 2015. Good 4.5 years that they had been unbeaten in 25 such games in that run. And that included all 18 under Pep Guardiola. It would be interesting to find out when Pep Guardiola himself as a manager lost against a newly promoted side.
I actually saw this on the weekend. It was against Heracles in La Liga back in, must have been back 2011, I believe. So a long time. I think it was about 8 years, but I might not have got the year right. But it was definitely
I think I might have seen the same thing. I think so 2 times in this decade. It's
crazy.
Happened. Like, and probably 2 times in his career, to be fair. But anyway, back to Guardiola actually, because despite this defeat, he does say that he's not worried about the title race just yet, despite falling 5 points behind Liverpool. Here's what he had to say.
We are in September. We're going to do that. Okay, congratulations, Liverpool. You are the champion. We're in September. What do we have to do? So recover and go to Ukraine, and after that, trying, and we're going back. In the terms, of course, we dropped 5 points. And Tottenham was a pity because we play incredibly well, and today, it was in the important part, like I said, pieces, important part that we have to know exactly what we have to do.
So that was Pep's opinion there, but although he can still be happy with this side sort of bossing the ball, they had 69% of possession, he won't be that happy with their wastefulness in front of goal. So they had 25 shots, they got 8 on target. But XG suggests they actually weren't too unlucky with 2.3 expected goals. The Canaries were much more decisive with their efforts. They actually had 1.7 according to XG, but they took 7 shots, and scored with all 3 of their efforts on target. So they were ultra clinical. And there were some absolutely heroic performances amongst their men. So Sam Byram, 4 tackles, 5 interceptions, both game highs. Kenny McLean, a goal, is first in the Premier League. 88% pass accuracy, 3 aerial duels won, 5 tackles and interceptions. And the man of the moment, Emi Buendia, 4 tackles, 3 key passes, 5 dribbles, 2 assists, the first midfielder to assist as many as 4 goals in his first 5 Premier League appearances since Eden Hazard in 2012. And I think he's one of my sort of favourite players to watch this season so far. You just, there's danger whenever he gets on the ball. He's a fantastic dribbler. He picks the right pass at the right time. Absolutely superb to watch. Keep it going, Buendia. As for the treble winners, they are sorely missing Laporte, who is out until February, I believe. Obviously joining Leroy Sané on the long-term injury list. Pep Guardiola might well face some questions about his decision not to sort of reinvest after Company left this summer in that area.
Sure.
That's a long time and a lot of games to last without your best defender. And Otamendi and Stones were their least used partnership last year, and it showed. I thought Otamendi was particularly poor. Stones wasn't great either. Basically, none of their back 5 played particularly well. And he was Otamendi was the only defender on the pitch not to make a single tackle or interception. The away side did improve after the hour mark. I actually thought they were going to nick a draw at the end with that Gabi Jesus and Aguero chances. De Bruyne and Jesus came on for David Silva and Gundogan. The German, though, had struggled to get involved before so. He made no tackles, no dribbles, didn't have a shot, and had the fewest touches in the side with 37. Even De Bruyne managed more when he came on with 38, and that was only for the last 30 minutes or so. So the citizens, big questions asked. 5 points behind already. I don't think it's insurmountable. I mean, they had the chance to go 10 points behind in that game in January.
Yes,
so it ended up as 7 in January. So there's a long way still to go. But, you know, they've got a Champions League game this week against Shakhtar Donetsk on Wednesday. They want to start that well. And Norwich, meanwhile, can bask in their glory before travelling to Burnley next Saturday. So a really thrilling game. Probably my game of the season so far in terms of entertainment. Yeah. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Well done to Norwich. Man City got to improve.
Before we go on to our first loser, just a little reminder to subscribe to Football Daily. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss another fantastic video such as this, keeping up with all the footy all the time.
Non-stop.
Daily, it's in the name. But Captain Kirk, 7423, has the first loser, and it's Arsenal, Doogie.
Yeah, no surprise. They drew 2-2 away to Watford, having been 2-0 up at half-time and cruising yesterday. That's the first time these two sides have drawn since December 1984. Wow. Watford obviously winless going into this game as well. But they dominated it. 53% possession, 31 shots, 10 on target. Sorry, Watford, Arsenal, 31 shots. Arsenal had 7 with 4 on target, and 16 of the Hornets' 31 efforts came from inside the box. Arsenal only had 4. We watched from about 55 minutes in a pub in London Bridge after the Gulf, and the amount of space the Arsenal midfielder was just giving to Doucouré. He was running about 70 yards with the ball every time. I didn't see a tackle after 55 minutes. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but there was very few. The lack of control was astonishing. And it continues an awful trend for Arsenal that has seen them concede the most shots so far, not only in the Premier League, but in Europe's top 5 leagues with 96. And obviously they played Spurs, they played Liverpool, but they also conceded about 20 shots to Burnley. They've now conceded 31 to Watford. Unai Emery, known as a defensive, pragmatic manager, what is going on? Sort your side out. The first half did start well. Aubameyang scored 2, assisted by both fullbacks in Kolasinac and Maitland-Niles. Kolasinac particularly with a fantastic run to the edge of the area. And then the Gabonese striker, a lovely turn, particularly for that first one. He's now been involved in 5 goals in 4 games against Watford, with 4 goals and 1 assist. But in that first 45, Arsenal only had 3 shots, 2 from Aubameyang and 1 from Pepe, compared to Watford's 8. So the writing was on the wall unless they addressed their defensive issues, which they clearly didn't. In the second half, Cleverley scored his first home goal for Watford since 2017, which also incidentally came against the Gooners, after a Socrates error, before David Luiz fouled Pereira in the box, an absolutely brainless challenge. And the Argentines slotted the penalty to make it 2-2. And that's ultimately where it stayed, despite Watford having sort of a few more chances in the last 10. So, absolute disaster for Arsenal.
Yeah, very disastrous. And Emery should feel lucky he came away with a point in the end, to be honest, because Watford really were that dominant. Obviously, you've highlighted that already. But it also reflected in the XG, 2.82 to 1.01 in Watford's favour. So they should have been clear winners here. Quique Sanchez-Flores has only lost 1 of 8 meetings with Emery in all competitions, I guess, throughout his career. I guess that goes to La Liga as well. He's won 3, drawn 4, and just lost the 1. But it is worrying for Emery that Arsenal, since he's arrived at the club, have conceded the most goals from errors, which is 14 in the last, season and a bit, and given away the most penalties, 10 in the entire Premier League.
That's crazy.
So there's clearly something, lack of communication at the back, all these kind of, I don't know, just defensively, Arsenal just look absolute mess.
Yeah, I suppose the
Not really
counterpoint
sure
to that would be like, these are individual errors, what can Emery do? But I think it comes from like having, being solid in what you're trying to do, being solid in your defensive plan. Watching Arsenal yesterday, there didn't seem like there was any defensive shape. He took off Ceballos and Ozil, brought on Torreira, who's pretty anonymous. It's just really, really worrying. Guendouzi came off as well.
Yeah, very odd decision that.
Yeah, strange.
Yeah, just taking off 3 of your best midfielders, basically, at a point where you haven't won the
Where
game.
you needed control.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a very odd decision. But anyway, the Gunners are now winless in 3 and are about to start their very long Europa League campaign against Frankfurt this Thursday. So they really do need those injured players to come back. Obviously, Tierney and Bellerin both on the sidelines. We've been talking a lot about how them coming back can kind of get a little bit more consistency into that back line and just get Emery being able to kind of play the kind of system that he wants to play in general. So Arsenal fans, I'm sure, will be very excited about that. Watford, though, obviously enjoying this change in management for now. Gracia sacked last week during the international break, and Flores returning to the ground where he made his Premier League name originally. They obviously only had 1 point before this game, and judging by the performance against Arsenal, they could probably be fairly confident that they're going to be picking up points more regularly over the coming months. But they do have a tough one. City and Spurs away in the next month. Also got Wolves away and Sheffield United at home, Swansea in the League Cup as well. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one for Flores over the next few weeks to consolidate kind of Watford back in the kind of mid-table. It's going to be a big ask. But what do you make of Arsenal's start to the season, people? Let us know in the comments below.
Our second winner, it's no surprise, it had to be Tammy Abraham, and this came in from @AlexNelsonMcCubs.
Yeah, I mean, he's just proving the doubters wrong, isn't
100%.
he? I would say that more than half of FD were predicting that he wasn't going to be great for Chelsea this season, and yeah, already...
What do we know?
Already has probably more goals than George Wright was predicting. But yeah, hat-trick in a 5-2 victory at Molineux against Wolves. Super entertaining game, super entertaining performance from Chelsea. And that hat-trick took him to 7 goals in his first 5 Premier League appearances this term, making him the youngest hat-trick scorer in Blues Premier League history.
Well done,
very, very impressive. Not only is he the joint top scorer now in the Premier League with Sergio Aguero, but he became just the 3rd under-21 player after Cristiano Ronaldo and Dele Alli to score 2 or more goals in 3 consecutive games in Premier League history. So joins an exclusive club there.
I love that stat.
Probably a stat that we're not going to be hearing for quite a while, just because it's so obscure. But he obviously had a phenomenal game. He won 7 aerial duels, completed a dribble and scored 3 of 4 shots. So super clinical. Not even a 69th minute own goal could dampen his spirits on a day when Chelsea had 3 English under-21 scorers. In Tomori, obviously, he scored that screamer early on, Abraham and Mount. And this is actually the first time, get this, that Chelsea have had 3 English under-21 scorers in a single season, let alone a single game, since 1992-93. So basically in Premier League history, which is nuts considering, they've had a lot of English players. But I guess, even in the 90s, they were getting in a lot of foreign imports as well. And maybe until the last few years, didn't have as esteemed an academy. And finally, these super talented youngsters are getting their chance.
Trying to think of the likes of Joe Cole and Lampard obviously came to Chelsea probably over the age of 21, so they weren't sort of eligible for this. But I was quite surprised Loftus and Barkley as well. I was quite surprised Loftus-Cheek. I don't know, a couple of other players maybe. Yeah,
but then you just don't remember Chelsea having kind of super talented young English players, at least from their academy, kind of way back when. And obviously in the Abramovich era, they've kind of tended to spend rather than rather than bring through the youth, until now that is. But as if that wasn't enough, Chelsea have become the first team in Premier League history to have 11 consecutive league goals scored by under 21 players.
Love it.
What is going on here?
We live in a crazy world.
Yeah, we do. This is what we've been telling Chelsea to do for about the last 3-4 years, isn't it? And actually, it is working.
I saw a very good
pretty
tweet on the
amazing to see.
weekend, which I'm not taking credit for. I can't remember who said it, but he was like, someone said, short term, this could be the best thing that's ever happened to Chelsea. This transfer ban.
Yeah.
In the fact that it's completely changing their strategy. They're seeing that they can believe in these young players. It's not just Tammy Abraham, Mason Mount playing exceptionally well. Is it Tomori coming to the fore? They've got Loftus-Cheek, they've got Hudson-Odoi to come back as well. Exciting times if you're a Chelsea fan.
Yeah, definitely. And in the long term as well, even if the Lampard experiment doesn't work, then this experiment that's going on right now has way more legs in it, you know, regardless of what happens with Lampard. But obviously at the moment, doing fantastically well at Stamford Bridge, isn't he? But yeah, back to the game though. Chelsea 56% possession, 15 shots with 6 on target to Wolves 11 and 4. So maybe Chelsea a little bit lucky with the XG, 3.1 to 1.5 in Lampard's side favour. But obviously, you know, games like this, you know, you do rely a little bit on luck. You know, a few defensive mishaps from Wolves as well.
Definitely.
But after coming in for some criticism after surrendering a 2-0 lead to draw at home to Sheffield United before the international break, Lampard will obviously be delighted to be in 6th. He's level on points with 3rd place Tottenham and 4th place United as well. But yeah, the young players just, you know, doing it for him at the moment, and I think that's probably what he'll be most pleased about. Here's what he had to say after the game.
Tammy, Mason, we've got players that are injured. We've got Ruben injured, we've got Callum injured, we've got Reece James injured. So the young players, I think it's time. They deserve their chances and they need to keep improving. But yeah, as you touched on, the balance is important for me. I thought Willian was fantastic today in his first game back, and he's gained his fitness again now. So if we can keep moving forward with the young players and get the balance right, then we'll be okay.
So there was Lampard rightly delighted with his side's 5 goals in particular, but for Wolves this was a harrowing day. Last year actually had a very solid defence. They conceded the 5th fewest goals in the Premier League last year, but they were ripped apart on this occasion with Conor Cody and Jesus Vallejo particularly shaky. Conor Cody had a day to forget. He was turned inside out by Tammy Abraham. He also lost him for a header as well. Not his day, is not his best day at the office by any stretch. This was actually the first time that Wolves have conceded 5 at home since a 5-0 defeat to Man United in March 2012. What a different Man United that was back then.
It was,
and a very different Wolves. They were under Terry Connor at the time. Wolves, though, have got their first Europa League group game to look forward to against Braga this week, but their league form has been shocking. Played 5, won 0, drawn 3, lost 2, scored 5, conceded 10. Only topped by Chelsea, incidentally, and Norwich. Only 2 teams to have conceded more. Expected goals, though, suggest they have been slightly unlucky. They conceded 3 more than they should have, with the metrics suggesting that it should be 10th rather than their lowly current position of 19th. And they also have played Chelsea, Man United and Leicester in that time. So easier fixtures to come for them. One positive for Nuno Espirito Santo, though. Patrick Cutrone got his first Premier League goal following his £16 million transfer from AC Milan. He came on at half-time for Leander Dendoncker, who really struggled in that first half. However, he may struggle to add to that tally in the near future, though, because Wolves are struggling. 10 chances per game they're creating, the 2nd worst record in the division, only above Norwich's 9.6. Key performers in this game, though, we've already talked about Tomori. Awesome on his 2nd Premier League appearance of the season. 10 tackles and interceptions he made. 3 aerial duels, 1 dribble, 1 shot, 1 goal. And you think with Lampard struggling to sort of shore up that defence in the opening 4 games, that maybe this 5 in the back system that he implemented here, which worked so effectively, might become, you know, more regularly used. I think he said he used it to go match up with Wolves directly, and so it would create, you know, more space for Mount and Willian. But you know, it worked so well in this game. I wouldn't be surprised to see it continue, and tomorrow will be difficult to leave out after that performance. But Mason Mount, obviously, got to give credit to him as well. 3 tackles and interceptions, 5 dribbles, 3 key passes, 2 shots. Scored his 3rd Premier League goal of the season already. But this day clearly belonged to Tammy Abraham, of course. He'll be hoping to keep this form going for Chelsea's home tie against Valencia tomorrow in the Champions League. The Champions League, of course, returns. We're doing 2 total footballs this week. You'll be spoilt for choice.
Crazy.
Come on over and join us on Eurofootball Daily on Tuesday and Wednesday, and hopefully see Tammy Abraham continue this form, because it's good news for England as well. Let's move on to our final loser.
Our final losers, thank God, are Leicester. This was sent in by Marok Karakche. Sorry if I butchered your pronunciation of your name there. Doogie, why are they in the losers this week?
Well, yeah, this is the game we were watching on Football Social this Saturday, and after an entertaining first half, it was a bit of a dull affair. But Man United did get the job done. They won 1-0. Historically, Leicester actually have a horrid record at Old Trafford. They've lost 9 of their last 10 games there, drawing just once away against the Red Devils. But here, the Foxes were tipped to run away with the game thanks to United's shocking recent form, just 3 wins in their last 17. Combine this with an injury list that included Pogba, Shaw, Martial, and you can see why Leicester fans were so confident going into the game. It was always going to be close, and according to XG, these were the 2 best defences in the entire league. And it showed with both sides struggling to create clear-cut chances. And most of the effort seemed to be sort of from dead ball situations. Andreas Pereira had a good effort. Marcus Rashford hit the bar. Tielemans struggled to get into the game. It wasn't a thriller on the Football Social. We're a bit disappointed with it. But we had some entertaining other 3 p.m. kickoffs to talk about. XG actually had the game down as 0.6 to 0.4 in United's favour, so not a thriller by any stretch. But yet again, it was a penalty that decided the game for United. Rodgers, though, was not happy at all with Rashford's penalty, by the sounds of it. Have a listen to him here.
Yeah, it's one of them soft ones. And again, that's with this team. They're young players, been exposed at the very highest level, and against good players like Marcus Rashford, you got to be cute, you got to be clever in your defending. And unfortunately, we were probably just a little bit rash on the challenge, and he gets the penalty for it. So,
well, I for one don't agree with Rodgers there. I think you'd agree as well, Doogie. That was pretty obvious penalty.
Yeah, it was clumsy. I thought it was clever from Rashford, but Ziyech just charging in a bit unnecessarily. Maybe just shield him down. Yeah,
for sure. Maybe showing a little bit of his inexperience in the Prem, despite having a very good start to the season, Soiuncu. But it was actually United's 3rd penalty of the season already in 5 games. That means United have now had 5 more penalties awarded for them than any other side in the league since the start of last season. That's a total of 16 pens.
Wow.
Very, very reliant from the spot, United, over the last season and a bit. However, obviously, Rashford and Pogba both missed pens already this campaign. So it meant there was big pressure on the lad as he stepped up for it this time round. But not that you would know it, he put it away, and it was actually his 4th goal against the Foxes. That's more than against any other side.
Nice.
So he's got a very good record against Leicester. I just realised this wasn't United's 3rd of the season. This was their 4th. I think this was just their 3rd since the Wolves game. But obviously, Rashford had that penalty against Chelsea at the start of the season as well.
Even
so
more.
already 4 for United this campaign. They actually had less possession, 42%, but one midfielder for United still put in a standout performance. That was obviously Scotty McTominay, aka Scott McSauce.
Oh, God.
Joe's put down here. 100% tackle success, including a very important 50-50 against Chilwell, 92% pass sack, 4 dribbles and 4 interceptions. A real all-action midfield performance in the absence of Paul Pogba. McTominay has shown on occasion in big fixtures as well that he can step up. Not necessarily the most consistent performer, can go a bit absent, not necessarily the most dynamic, but in a game like this, he was very dynamic, and it was really impressive to see. And also, I feel like United, when they don't have as much possessions, sometimes play a little bit better. I think it does generally tend to favour Solskjaer's system. Likes to counter-attack, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, in that first half, with I think it was Matic, Mata, who's playing essentially in Pereira was wide and McTominay. The press that you guys put on, the pressure you put on Leicester, the way you sort of kept hold of the ball in tight spaces and sort of released Daniel James on a few times. I actually thought you were really impressive in that first half. Obviously, Leicester came back into it with James Maddison to the fore in the second, but overall, it wasn't the most entertaining game, but a really good result for Man United.
Yeah, for sure, with a makeshift side as well, as you're highlighting there. Obviously, got to talk about Harry Maguire as well, coming up against his former club for the first time. Big pressure on the guy. And was very adept at dealing with Leicester, especially Jamie Vardy. He won 4 aerial duels, 3 tackles, and had an 89% pass accuracy, completed 2 dribbles as well. Next up for United, home against Astana in the Europa League. I'm sure everyone will be watching that. Next up for Leicester is Spurs at home.
Who had a great result against
They did.
Palace.
Yeah, don't know why we haven't talked about them today, but I guess we can go into the end board from here.
Yeah,
Diggy,
let's do it.
Where can they go to see more
So
of your face?
hopefully in an hour's time, ERU will be dropping over on Eurofootball Daily. It might well be McCubbin and myself as well. We're dealing with a bit of a player shortage today. We've got people off on shoots. We've got Zach, at Chelsea. We've got Pato ill in bed.
Yeah.
So it might well be back us again. And then we're doing Stat Wars later. So it's a busy day for the two of us. But yeah, go over to that. Also go and watch yesterday's Sunday Vibes on Football Daily. Go and watch Saturday's Stat Wars the League on Eurofootball Daily. So there's plenty for you guys to get your teeth stuck into rather. But yeah, thank you very much for watching again today. Let us know what you guys thought of our opinions in the comments down below. Any final words, McCubs?
No, I think you've covered it all. See you later.
Bye.